Standing barefoot on a smooth glacial rock by the sea at sunset, and sensing the warmth of the sun-heated stone through one's soles, is an extraordinary healing experience. I'm not sure about the bottom of the foot, but have you simply tried pushing your bottom on a sun-heated stone around sunset? Because I mean that is a healing experience.
Hilarious.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another episode of Archi Book Club. If you're new here, my name is Miriam. I'm an architect based in Casablanca, Morocco, and I make videos about architecture and favorite things I discover for each month. So if it's your kind of thing, consider subscribing. So, The Eyes of the Skin by the Finnish architect, writer and former professor Juhani Pallasmaa. I've seen this book being recommended in many places. Apparently it is a classic of architectural theory, and it is a required reading on courses in schools of architecture. But to be honest, I've only been introduced to it recently. The book is about how the dominance of vision or sight, like through perspective drawings and with the increase of images, like in photography and the whole technology we use nowadays, and the suppression of the other senses, touch, smell, hearing, taste, in the way architecture was conceived and taught and thought of, has led to the impoverishment of our built environment and has impacted its ability to engage and inspire its inhabitants. So, for me, reading this in 2021, and this might resonate with you as well, it was a bit weird reading sentences on how contemporary architecture was inhuman as a consequence of the neglect of the body, and just, you know, the whole vibe around how focused on vision our approach to architecture has become. It was just weird because this is not how I saw things around me. It's not how we've been taught to think about architecture. It was actually quite the opposite. In school, we were always supposed to think about the sensory experience in our designs. So I had to constantly remind myself that he was actually referencing the contemporary architecture in the time that he wrote the book, which is 1996. And it's only after I started rereading it that I came across, mindfully this time, that he actually points out this in his revised introduction for this third edition, of how things have changed immensely since he wrote the book, with other writings and research confirming and supporting his view. So yeah, definitely a book to read and reread, though not an easy read, I must admit. It was a bit dense. I would read about 5 to 6 pages and max out, and then like mindless reading kicks in, and I'll be like, let's call it a day. And I would just follow up on it the next day. The book consists of 2 essays. The first one is about the history of how this vision-focused model has developed in the Western culture since the Greeks, and the impact it had on the experience of the world in general and the nature of architecture. And the second one is about the role of the other senses, touch, smell, hearing, taste, in how we experience architecture. And it also has the way suggested by Pallasmaa to move towards a multi-sensory architecture which facilitates a sense of presence and integration. And this third edition has an additional text at the end by Peter McKeith, which is kind of a biographical portrait of Pallasmaa and an outline of his thinking. It really would have been amazing if I could summarize and share all the information in this book, because most of it, if not all of it, was new to me. But it's the kind that no summary would do it justice. So you have to dig into it yourself. Mainly because this book draws from a very rich library of references, and so you can clearly see how well read the author is. But it doesn't come across as pretentious in any way. I believe Finnish people are known to be quite humble, and so it was truly far from that. And so like almost every idea has multiple resources that addressed that particular point, and I find that so interesting. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 2 ideas that resonated with me from the book. So first, the importance of materiality. Back at school, I had a professor who loved this word and used it a lot. It's used in business and other fields, but in architecture, materiality is defined as the concept of applying different materials or substances in the design of a building. The buildings in this current technological era have this tendency towards what Pallasmaa called ageless perfection. You know how industrial materials like synthetic plastic or those polished, glossy, shiny metals, or even glass in the big sheets form we use in buildings nowadays, they do not incorporate the dimension of time. Or in other words, they do not showcase the process of aging, unlike natural materials, like wood, stone, and silver, for example. I mean, these do very much express their age, and they easily tell the story of how they've been made and used throughout time by people. So you might ask, why is that so important? According to Pallasmaa, not being able to perceive this aging in our built environment has decreased our experience of time. He says that as humans, we have this need to feel rooted in the continuity of time, that we're part of processes that go beyond our limited time here on Earth. And with buildings no longer fulfilling this basic need, this could have devastating mental effects. I really struggled trying to understand and simplify this point, because of all things in the book, it kind of hit a nerve, and I thought this actually might be true. I mean, saying that there are detrimental mental effects is quite a strong statement, but again, probably the effects are subtle and we're not really aware of them for now. And for this claim of the need to feel rooted in time, I think we can relate to this point. Just recall how disoriented you can get sometimes when you lose track of time and no longer know for sure which day of the week it is. Like that moment of confusion when you're unsure and in doubt. It happened to me last week when I worked from home on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then went to the office on Thursday. So seeing people the next day in large numbers heading for Juhani, I was like, really? It's Friday? So like these things happen. I hope you see what I mean. Now let's get back to our point. Look, I'm sure industrial materials age as well, but I wouldn't say they do in the same beautiful way natural materials do. I mean, plastic can break, fade, and it gets ugly. And I think you'd agree that there is some magical energy to natural materials, as if they're alive, which makes them different to synthetic ones. And I don't think Pallasmaa is trying to sell us on only using natural materials in our buildings. I think it has almost become impossible these days. But I believe that knowing and sensing when and where to use them and include them in our designs is a crucial skill. Secondly, what makes a powerful architectural experience? Pallasmaa thinks that a powerful architectural experience, in contrast with a weak one, as I understood it, or an impoverished one, as he described it, is an architectural experience with the capacity to silence all external noise. He writes, "It focuses our attention on our very existence, and as with all art, it makes us aware of our fundamental solitude." I personally found this to be so true. Like the buildings in which I felt so connected and present, and of which I still have vivid memories of me circulating the spaces, are the ones who imposed this element of silence. And I think this could be achieved either through the physical elimination of external noise, through screens or thick isolated walls and windows, or through a mise en scène of light and shadow, or natural scent to a tree, for example, or through the strong materiality of the building itself. And these elements would usually call our attention and bring it back to the present moment. It would invite introspect and meditation. I think that there are two categories of buildings that provide already a powerful architectural experience. I would say first religious buildings, and then old buildings in general. But I believe that there are secular contemporary buildings that succeed to provide a powerful architectural experience by employing the elements we've talked about. I would cite as an example the Vitra Conference Pavilion by Tadawando. Though it was so close to the Ruhmerstrasse, which is the main road from which you access the Vitra campus, it imposed this respectful silence. You can see from one of the rooms that cars are so close and they're passing by, but you can't hear the noise. Of isolated glass, of course. Add to that the pathway that leads you in the first place to the building, and how it prepares you to clear your mind and focus on this experience you're about to have. And of course, the minimalist vibe of this building that makes it a unique piece of architecture. Come to think of it, there is another category of buildings that provide a powerful architectural experience. Let me know if you disagree, but I still think it counts as an architectural experience. And those are hammams, or balik baths. Told ya, bathroom person. And the Moroccan baths are quite special, I think. Before you even set foot inside, the experience starts with the scent of the wood. And once you open the door to get in, it's the mixture of shampoo smells and the warmth of the place felt on your skin. Then inside, it is the echo from water pouring and the baby cries and the buckets and all of that. And it's usually an enclosed place, so there's no windows. Well, I've seen ones with windows, very small ones, high enough not to be reachable. And when sun rays penetrate, it's just a magical moment. So this building, though it's not a quiet one, it provides an interesting sensory experience, and I think it still counts as a powerful architectural experience. Architecture's task is to articulate and express the essence of our lived world, and to enable us to dwell in this world. If you're interested in watching other architecture-related videos, you can check the playlist here, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.